A multi-million-dollar jury verdict is exposing a serious problem in our classrooms. 4 Investigates told you about Las Cruces teacher Patrick Howard earlier this year.
He admitted to sexually abusing his high school students, and a federal jury put a hefty price tag on that crime. You see, classroom predators are costing New Mexicans in more ways than one. 4 investigator Brittany Costello found out who exactly is paying for Patrick.
Students in our state have stories.
We learned that it was kind of an extensive group of us
that are hard to share. Attorney Shannon Kennedy represents a now 22-year-old woman who was just 15 when her Las Cruces teacher molested her.
I was a child, and so was every other girl involved. And now, we have to deal with all of these mental repercussions and for the rest of our lives.
Her story convinced a federal jury to order teacher Patrick Howard to pay $44 million for her anguish.
I hope it's eye-opening. It's absolutely eye-opening.
The liability for sexual assault cases in schools is staggering. Their jury awards and settlements are paid by a state agency, the New Mexico Public Schools Insurance Authority, NMSIA. Patrick Sandoval runs it.
We've seen an increase in sexual abuse and molestation claims.
The agency covers those claims for most New Mexico school systems, paid for through member premiums. In the last 10 years, Sandoval says they've tallied 143 claims of sexual abuse and molestation in every corner of our state. A number expected to grow.
We're talking about a lot of money.
You're correct. Unfortunately, it's a large amount of money. And, the sad thing overall is that there's a student involved. And that student's life will now be changed forever.
Our state legislature funds our school districts every year. Those districts use some of that money to pay premiums for their benefits. If costs go up, so do premiums.
If you penalize a district too much, what are they giving up? What programs are they giving up for students? Are they giving up an FTE? What are they giving up to pay for that increased premium?
The agency needs emergency funding from lawmakers.
Very significant special appropriation requests.
$120 million to offset rising premiums.
What it really boils down to is the severity of the claims.
Claims, like the one against Patrick Howard. A judge ruled the $44 million trial verdict excessive. But it also boils down to the state's handling of those claims. We learned NMSIA still paid out more than $13 million for Patrick Howard's actions, despite Howard admitting in a pretrial interview to sexually touching his student. Howard and his state-paid attorneys went to trial. The bill was close to $1 million.
They need to value the harm caused out of the gate instead of dragging the victims through years of litigation and then hoping that a jury doesn't do justice. That's been the model.
Remember, Sandoval told us he understands the harm.
There's a student involved, and that student's life will now be changed forever.
But Kennedy says his agency's initial settlement offer was just a fraction of the final legal bill. Sandoval wouldn't discuss the specifics of the case, saying a team of attorneys works to come up with settlement offers. Kennedy and her client?
The whole reason I went to trial was so that this didn't happen again to anyone.
Think state money would be better spent keeping predators out of the classroom.
What are you guys doing to look at ways to mitigate the risk within the policy itself?
We've really channeled a lot of our efforts to loss prevention and education.
In 2021, the state passed a law aimed at more disclosures and in-depth background checks for school staffers. It also makes it harder for schools to pass the trash, forcing them to send complaints of ethical misconduct to the Public Education Department for investigation and to create a paper trail.
Any behavior that would be enticing or sexual in nature to a student.
It's a start, but more lawsuits seem certain. In the last 3 years, the PED investigated 163 reports and acted on 30% of them.
While the reported ethical misconduct cases cover school districts all over our state, the staggering numbers reported by NMSIA do not cover our state's largest school district. APS is not insured by NMSIA. Brittany Costello, 4 Investigates.